My name is Graham Clark, and this is the beard that I grew because I was done with employment and also intercourse, right, ladies? My whole life has changed ever since I had this beard. Like, I'm in with a whole crew of people that I didn't even know was a crew. Like, I'm in with homeless dudes like you would not believe. Every city I go to, especially here in Montreal, if I'm walking down the street and there's panhandlers asking every guy walking by, like, hey, sir, spare change? You have spare change? Sir, spare change? And then I walk by, nothing. Just like a quiet respect, right? Just like, oh, looks like somebody got himself a hat. Pretty good. Montreal's filled with like good-looking people. That's crazy. Everybody here's so good-looking. Yeah. Doesn't make me feel good. From Vancouver, everybody's in great shape there. And every year I think, like, I should do something to, like, contribute to the culture, right? Get in shape. But then I realized a couple weeks ago, or I could just move. Right? I'd be an 8 if I lived in Moose Jaw. Oh, an 8.5, easy. Everywhere I go, people be like, who's the new guy? Did a gym just open up in town? Yeah. I was looking for a job a while ago. I was looking on Craigslist. I don't know if anybody here has ever looked for a job on Craigslist. Yeah, dark times, sir. The thing about Craigslist is a lot of the ads will start with a leading question, right? Something like, are you motivated? And you're like, ah. Why you gotta be like that, Craigslist? All right. The thing that's great about Craigslist is they'll break down the jobs that are available by category, right? So you've got like government or labor or not-for-profit, and then down near the bottom, you have just part-time jobs, and then underneath that, you have a category called etc. You've accepted your fate if you click etc. You're ready to do anything for money. And all of those leading questions are terrifying, right? All questions like, are you uptight about being topless on film? Jesus, what? Or it's all cryptic, right? Do you know how to stuff a piñata? What does that mean? It's like super specific, right? Must be physically fit. Must be able to lift 170 pounds and keep a secret. Jesus! No thanks, Craigslist. So I don't have a job, so I got time. I got lots of time. I watched a documentary not that long ago that said that Earth is running out of helium. Did you know that? You knew that? I didn't know that. I was a cockeyed optimist. I had no idea. Helium forever, that was my slogan. I didn't know. And apparently it's a gas that's used in like life-saving procedures and it's used in medical research. And like, look, we're running out of it and we're gonna have a lot of hard conversations to have with the next generation, right? Stuff like, why is everything on fire all the time? What's an otter, they'll ask you. But explaining to a kid that needs helium why there's no helium left, oh, that's gonna be a tough conversation. Because the kid's gonna ask you, tell me again, what happened to all the helium? And you're gonna have to go, wow. Listen, we mostly used it to fill up balloons. Then the kid's gonna ask you, for transportation? Not even close. No, we would fill up balloons and just give them to each other to like cheer each other up. Sometimes they'd say get well soon right on them, which is ironic because and then what would you do with the balloons? Oh, we just let them go into the atmosphere. And they float up there for a while and then come back down to earth and choke a duck, I guess. Yeah, we truly were the greatest generation. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. But then the kid's gonna ask you, and that's all you did with the helium? And you'll have to say, no. No, sometimes we would just breathe it in to make our voices go high. It was hilarious. I wish I had some helium here so I could show you. You know, I also learned, I watched a documentary on mermaids. And spoiler alert, they don't exist. But here's the thing about mermaids, right? The myth got started because sailors were out at sea and they were seeing something that they thought were beautiful women fish that they were falling in love with, right? So this documentary crew went on the same voyage to see what it was these sailors were seeing that they thought were mermaids. And it turns out what they saw were seals. Now, we've all been through a dry spell, right? Huh? I was talking to my friend who's like an amateur marine biologist, right? And he said, I don't think, based on where they were in the water, I don't think it was seals they were seeing. I think it was manatees. And I was like, that's not better. That's not better. That's much worse. I'm just saying, if you were out at a bar tonight and there was a group of seals hanging out and then one manatee, you would tell your friend, like, distract the manatee. Try and get with one of these seals. Montreal, you were a real treat. Thanks for having me. Have a good night.